The Ranger Report, yeah, the Ranger Report. If you want the inside scoop, listen to the Ranger Report. Oh, here we go!
This is the Ranger Report podcast. News, insights, predictions, interviews, and information about the Texas Rangers from the major leagues to the minor leagues. And now, here are your hosts, Ben Dieter and CJ Berryman.
Welcome, everybody, to the Ranger Report podcast. I am Ben Dieter, joined tonight by Tyler Nielsen. Tyler, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming back on, man. It's been a long time. Glad to have you back.
Same as well.
All right, well, you can always find us on Twitter at the Ranger Report. You can find me at BDeater75. You can find CJ at CJB_RR. CJ had some minor surgery, and so he has the night off tonight. Of course, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Patreon. You can become a patron. And, of course, we have a shop and all that. Get all that good stuff out of the way here on the Preferred Health Solutions online studio, brought to you by Walton's and part of the Fans First Sports Network. I got so much to say off the top now. It's just crazy. All right, so let's start with what we normally do, and that's our weekend review. And normally I go early series and then most recent series, but I figured we'd start off tonight, Tyler, talking about the Rangers and Astros, specifically last night's game, which, let's just say, like you said here off the air, there's a little bit of fireworks in that game yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. It was enjoyable to watch. I knew Semien. He had some things to say. He was not happy about getting hit by that pitch. And you could definitely tell his frustration, and I could tell it was escalating very quickly. And the Rangers, they're tough. They're gritty. They weren't going to allow Houston to push them around, and they made a statement. And when Semien crossed that plate, he made it well known that we're here to stay, and it's going to run through us this year.
Yeah, and the thing I think is that the Rangers, the first two games of that series, they look kind of flat. I mean, the first one was 10-9, and there was a couple of calls that might have been questionable there in that game that they wound up losing 10-9. The second one, they looked flat, again, lost by one run, and they started looking flat last night. And I feel like when Semien got hit, Houston kind of lit a fire under the Rangers, who then went off for 13 straight runs, including the cap of that Adolis Garcia grand slam where they all had that nice baseball shoving match at the end. But yeah, you're right. Semien is always a class act. It takes a lot to get under his skin. So you can tell he was mad last night.
Oh, definitely. And that's what me and my wife, when we were watching the game, for Semien to get that mad, you always see him. He's just a real laid back, just goes to the ballpark every day, does his job. And you don't see a lot of emotion that comes out of Semien. He just plays the game the right way. But I think last night it kind of boiled down. I think he really knew how big this series was, and getting swept by the Astros and then being tied for first, and instead, leaving that series was still a 2-game lead. I think there was a little bit more, energy, passion, and you could see that coming out from the guys last night.
And on Twitter, I tweet a lot during games, and there are a lot of Astro hate coming my way over the last 3 days. And I'll tell you what, I like the fact that it's become a rivalry between the teams and the fans. It's always fun when the rivalry extends all the way through the whole system. I mean, even the Rangers radio and TV guys are in on the rivalry and don't like Houston. I love the fact that from top to bottom, man, it's now a rivalry, and it's always better when both teams are good.
It is a rivalry. And, unfortunately for a while now for the Rangers, we haven't able to compete and stay on the same level as the Astros. But now that we're over that hunch and the future's looking bright as ever, I think Houston knows this is the real deal now. So they've got their work cut out for them.
Yeah, and at the beginning of the year, I predicted that the Astros would win the division. I didn't think the Rangers would obviously be this good. And, I still wouldn't be shocked if they won the division, but I think the Rangers now proved that they have the upper hand, even though they lost 4 of the last 6 to the Astros. I think that game last night when the Astros had their first chance to be in first place for the year and the Rangers just pelted them, I think was them saying, you have to go through us this year.
That's exactly right. It kind of shows you the resilience of this team. I don't know how many consecutive days it's been since we've had the lead in the AL West, but, last night was another prime example. They, Houston's a tough atmosphere to play in. They're the team to beat. They're the defending world champions. They're the Houston Astros for a reason. And knowing that easily that momentum could have been shrunk in 3 days, especially after winning 6 in a row coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah.
And then struggling against the Dodgers, as we know, and then come in there and lose your first 2 against Houston, and especially the way they won in such a convincing way last night.
Yeah.
It was a statement game, and they came out and did what they needed to do, and now they just need to get back on track and continue to play good baseball.
Yeah, and we'll talk about this here in a little bit, but they have series coming up that aren't going to be as challenging as the 4 that they just played coming out of the All-Star break. Some teams that aren't quite as good as the ones they faced, but they swept Tampa, and they swept they swept Tampa, and they swept, now I forget who the other, shoot.
They swept the Guardians.
Guardians, thank you. They swept Tampa and they swept Cleveland, who were both in first place when they got swept. And then they struggled. Now, that Dodgers series was a little rough just because of the way they lost a few of those games. That 16-3 game, I'll admit I turned it off about the 5th or 6th inning. I had enough of that one. But,
I was debating whether to turn it off or not, but I don't know. I'm kind of one of those. I've seen the Rangers through the worst times, as has you, and I just kind of wrote it out and kind of giggled at the end of the game. I was like, well, it still counts as just one loss in the loss column, regardless of the score.
Yep. And that's the thing. Then they've lost 4 of their last 6, but they're still, if I do my math right, 8-4 coming out of the All-Star break. So that's still, right. I'm still pretty happy with 8-4. If they played 500 ball the rest of the year, I know we've talked about this, they'd have 94 wins, I think, or 93 wins.
93 or 94.
And they've won twice as many games as they've lost so far, and that's playing 3 first-place teams in the Astros. So,
if you would have told me coming out of the break, we're playing the Dodgers, we're playing the Astros, we're playing the Guardians, who were in first, and then we're playing the Rays, and who obviously have the best record in baseball, that we would go 8-4 in that 12-game stretch, I guarantee any Ranger fan would say, I'll take it.
Yep.
Regardless of losing the 2 series against the Dodgers and the series against the Astros. And I know that's a division series, but still, I guarantee it, anybody would have said, I'll take it.
Yeah, and we're still coming out, like you said, 2-game lead. We're still coming out in first place, still holding on. Houston still hasn't even had a share of the lead for the entire year. And again,
they got a tough series coming up too. So they got the Rays.
They've got the Rays. Yeah, they've got a couple of tough series. They've got the Dodgers coming up too. So they've got a couple of tough series coming up, and we have some easier ones. But you don't let off the gas now. You take what happened last night. You take what happened last night and you run with it, and you keep that chip on your shoulder, and you blow the division out at this point is what you need to do.
That's right.
And, I don't think they're going to blow the division out. I think Houston's too good and they're going to stay right there with us. But as long as we can, continue to keep that 2 games, 3 games, 4 games ahead of Houston, then that September series becomes basically playoff baseball. That's going to that's a September series with the Astros. And it's here. It's in Arlington.
So that's going to help.
That's going to be an amazing series. That's going to be a packed house. And that's going to be one of those series that is a make or break. Like in 2010, I'm sure you remember the 4-game series where they swept the Yankees in Arlington, and everybody started actually paying attention and saying, wait, this team might actually be good.
Right.
And I think if they can sweep the Astros in September, I think that'll pretty much, unless things go badly between now and then, that can pretty much put them ahead for good in the division.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I don't think there's any debate anymore. I don't think around the league. I think every team in baseball knows the Rangers are the real deal. They're not going anywhere. They're here to stick around. And you're going to have series. That's part of baseball. You're going to have series where you don't win them all.
Yep.
It's just part of the game. Our pitching hasn't been great as of late. Our bullpen has been horrendous pretty much the whole season. But that'll be addressed. The trade deadline's coming up, and we'll get those problems figured out. And hopefully everything just starts clicking at the right time.
Yeah, I think it'd be hilarious if the Rangers wind up trading with the Padres during this series and the guys have to walk from one dugout to the other.
I think it would be hilarious too. I think it'd be funny if I would really like to see him get Blake Snell.
So would I, yeah.
I think Blake Snell would be a great addition, and then grab you 2 nice. There's a lot of great bullpen guys out there on the trade market. You got guys from Detroit that are out there. You got guys from the Pirates.
Yeah.
I know today the Angels traded for the guy from the White Sox.
Yep.
So there is relievers out there to be gained. I think all it comes down to is who are the Rangers willing to give up. And
exactly.
My biggest thing is I think Owen White is completely off the radar. But you never know. It depends on what you're willing to do, because if the Rangers aren't all in this year, then I could see them willing to part with their top prospects.
Yeah, same here. And, another guy, Pirates, you said Bednar is another guy I wouldn't mind them getting
Bednar.
from the Pirates. So there's plenty of guys out there. I didn't want to go too deep into it just because it's always wrong. But, and Chris Young, I mean, I think he's proven to us in the last year and a half he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. And I keep on hearing names like Lance Lynn get tossed around, but Lynn's not had a great year.
No.
And I understand he might be comfortable in Texas, haven't played here before, but I would look at guys like Marcus Stroman from the Cubs or a Blake Snell, one that is proven. And I'm not saying Lance Lynn isn't a proven MLB pitcher, but he's just not having his Lance Lynn type of year.
No, he's not. No, for sure.
So,
yeah. I mean, and again, I understand why they're talking about him. It would be a reunion and maybe he could pick it back up under that reunion. But I agree with you. Stroman's the guy I'd really like to get if it's not too expensive.
Yeah.
And they need someone.
I think we also need to add an extra bat.
I would not be offended by an extra bat.
Yeah. I don't know. That DH spot is kind of iffy. Garver, when he does hit it, it's usually a home run.
Yep.
Or, he don't have no wheels, so if it's hitting the gap, it's either a long single or maybe he can beat it out for a double.
Yeah.
And then if it's late in the game and the score's close, you got a pinch run for him because, like I said, he doesn't have the wheels.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I think Owen White is a starter on this team next year. I don't think they want to get rid of him. I think Evan Carter's a starter on this team next year, and they're not going to get rid of him. But other than those two, I think Acuna could be gone. I think Foscue could be gone. Leiter could be gone if the deal's worked out right. I think pretty much anyone besides those two guys is on the market.
Yeah, and I've been hearing Duran's name get tossed out there, and I was like, with the injury to Corey Seager, they are not trading Ezekiel Duran.
No.
Ezekiel is here to stay, and they're not getting rid of Duran.
I see Tavares going before Duran just because they have so much outfield.
Yep.
They have so much outfield depth, and and Duran has proven he's a major leaguer and he plays really well at shortstop. And Seager is obviously, I'm not saying he's going to be injured every year, but he's shown us that he's had a little bit of injury issues these last few years.
Correct.
And when he's in the lineup, though, man, his bat is amazing. Another guy I wanted to talk about whose bat is like career amazing is Travis Jankowski.
Oh, I know. What a year he's having, huh? Me and my wife, we don't miss a game. We watch them together every single night. And, she made a promise to me coming into the season. She said, I'm actually going to watch every game with you this year. And I was like, all right, we'll see about that. And she's been faithful. And that's one player that when we watch, we're just like, man, he's just it's fun watching him play. He's not a power guy by any means, but he does all the little things that a ball club needs in the, 1 through 9. You got to have that one player that does those little things, and he provides all that.
And the Rangers in the 2010 round, it kind of reminded me of Milton Bradley, or I think he was before 2010, but they've always had that one guy that comes out of nowhere that does well. And that's Jankowski this year. And the catch he made to rob a home run from the bullpen earlier this year, he's an exciting ball player to watch.
Yeah. The catch he made last night was a hell of a catch too, though.
Yeah, that was also. That was
a good catch too, but no, by far his catch of the year was the one in Arlington when he went above the wall.
Yeah, it was like Eli White last year when he climbed the wall for that one.
I think he had 2 really good catches in that game, didn't he?
He did have 2. Yeah, he had 2 really good catches in that game. He did.
Yeah.
So his defense is good. His bat has been good. Like I said, he was just sort of an out of nowhere. Duran was a guy we knew could do it, but like you said, he's established himself as a big leaguer. There's no way he ever goes back down to the minors.
Oh, I totally agree. And, I didn't realize Duran had as much pop in his bat as, when came out. And when he hits the ball, when he hits homers, they're not short. They're not barely over the fence homers. They're long home runs. How about we talk about that home run last night by Garcia?
The grand slam that went above the train.
That ball was
I'll tell you what. When Duran beat that throw out to first, I said Garcia's going to hit a grand slam.
You know what? So we play this game where you get one call per game.
Oh yeah, I do too. Yeah.
Yeah. So my wife made the call last night for Garcia.
I'd made it earlier and missed it, but so I couldn't call Garcia.
She's a little biased. That's her favorite player. So
yeah. And then, of course, one of the best tweets last night was Jeff Wilson after they started pushing and shoving, saying, I hope someone picks a fight with Adolis Garcia and Aroldis Chapman.
Oh, yeah. And it was so funny watching Chapman run out back to the bullpen with little Altuve beside him.
Yeah.
It looked like a dad and his son.
It did.
And I was laughing so hard. I was like, oh, gosh. I said, it's just a bunch of grown men screaming at each other. They're not going to do anything.
Yeah, that's a baseball fight. So anyway.
And I honestly, them ejecting both, I can understand, that it was getting a little escalated, but I personally would have let him stay in the game.
Yeah, me too.
But
I didn't think either player deserved to be ejected over that. But I think they were just trying to send a message because of, it kept escalating inning after inning. And of course, when Valdez threw it Nate Lowe's head up for his last pitch, that didn't help things.
Do you think the pitch that when Semien did get hit, do you think that was intentional?
Oh yeah, 100%.
See, I do too. But see, I don't think Henny's was intentional.
No, I don't think it was either.
I don't think that was intentional.
And not just because he's a Ranger, but why would you go 0-2 on a guy and then hit him? That's not when a pitcher would do that. If he was 2-0 or if it was the first pitch of the at bat, like it was for Valdez, but I don't see a guy going 0-2 and then hitting on purpose. It was very unfortunate because of who it was. He'd just come back off the injured list, but but it happens. And I understand, Houston fans will probably scream at this and say it was on purpose. That's fine. You can think that, but I think Semien's was, I don't think Heaney's was, but I mean, obviously there's been times where the Rangers have pelted dudes on purpose. Every team does it.
Yep, of course.
The only thing that bothered me was that it was a 96 mile an hour fastball instead of a curveball or a slider.
Right, yeah.
Because that's a little that's a little rough.
Yep, that's a cheap shot.
Yeah, that is a cheap shot for sure. So,
absolutely.
All right, so the Rangers have coming up the Padres this weekend, who do not have the greatest record in the world.
No, they do not.
They were supposed to be great, but they're 49-54. They got Musgrove. Musgrove, was it last year that he threw the no-hitter against the Rangers?
It was.
And it was in Arlington. So this one's in San Diego. So Musgrove, that ought to be a good matchup for him. He's 9-3 this year with a 3.25 ERA. Dunning had a very bad outing his last outing. But other than that, he's been great all year. So I think this is going to be a well-pitched game.
I totally agree. I don't really worry too much when Eovaldi takes the mound or Dunning, for much of this year. But I think Dunning will bounce back nicely. I think the biggest thing is we need to get our offense going too, of course. We can't have those series where, it seemed like the first two games we came out real stagnant against like Astros. Just, you would think that's when you would want to come out and play your best ball. But I think it finally clicked to them yesterday, and I think that momentum hopefully carries on to San Diego.
Yeah, I hope so too. And I think, like I said, if that momentum carries on, they should be able to win this game. Then they've got, of course, Martin Perez against his old pitching buddy, Yu Darvish, on Saturday. Darvish is 7-7 with a 4.80 ERA. Perez is 8-3 with a 4.91 ERA. The Rangers have scored a lot of runs for Martin Perez this year.
They have. They've given him a lot of run support. And that's, that explains why he's getting his wins. Because Martin Perez, I mean, you look at his ERA compared to last year, it's almost 2 points higher.
Yeah.
But there's a reason why he's getting these wins, because it seems like every time Martin steps on that mound, the Rangers' bats just come alive. They're like, we've got to get these runs because, I mean, you don't know what you're getting this year out of Martin.
Yep.
And that's, he usually pitches better at home, but even this year he hasn't been that great at home.
Yeah.
So
Sunday is Blake Snell pitching for San Diego or for Texas?
Well, I'm hoping it's Texas. I don't think, because when August 1st is what day?
It's Monday.
It's Monday. So,
or I'm sorry, Tuesday. It's Tuesday. Sorry,
it's Tuesday. So
it's Tuesday. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know. That would be crazy if he's sitting in our dugout and then he was in the Padres dugout the night before. That would be really weird.
I mean, and he's slated to pitch against the Rangers on Sunday. Rangers don't have a pitcher listed, which means it's probably either White or Cody Bradford.
Yeah, which I could see them just going back and forth, and I'm fine with that. Cody Bradford to me had a pretty good season.
Or they might have Yeri start again and throw a couple innings, then have Bradford come in like they did last time, which worked out all right for the Rangers.
When do you know when Eovaldi's next start's going to be?
I believe it'll be. I don't, but it'll be pretty soon after that. I think he's going to be on regular rest again.
Okay.
So I think, and he might start Sunday. I don't know, but they don't have him listed right now if he is.
Yeah, the thing about the Rangers in this series, and I think you made a good point earlier, they can't walk into the series just because, the Padres may be the biggest disappointment of any team in baseball this year.
Yeah.
They've got to come in there and take care of business. They can't look at records from any point on from now on.
Yep.
They've got to go out there and take care of business.
Yep. I totally agree. They have a chance. Baltimore is on fire right now, and of course Tampa. But the Rangers, if they keep winning twice as many as they lose, they'll have the best record in the AL by the end.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I'd be gunning for that if I were them. Yeah,
like you said earlier to begin the show, if you would have told me that the Rangers were leading the division at even this point, I'd said you're crazy. I knew that they would have been much improved this year. Well, you have to be improved from considered last year. We were absolutely terrible last year.
Yeah, 60 wins and then 68 wins last year.
Yep, exactly.
And they should pass 68 wins by the second week of August this year.
Yeah, pretty amazing.
That's only eight away.
Yep.
Yeah, 60 and 43. So anyway, they then after San Diego, they have the White Sox, that was an interesting series last time. So back at home.
That starts on the day of the trade deadline, right? August 1st.
That is, yep. That's the first game's August 1st. So and there's White Sox that we're looking at too. So it ought to be interesting. I love the trade deadline, but I hate the waiting.
Yeah, I've heard Robert's name being shopped out there from the White Sox. So,
it's going to be
around this time of the year. You hear all these names that are being floated around. It's kind of a wait and see. You'll just see what happens, whatever it comes.
For sure.
And take it for what it was. I don't want to drain our whole minor league system, though, and I don't think the Rangers are going to do that. But I also think they are in win mode right now this year. I think they feel that they can win the championship, and I think they're looking at it as that's every contender should. You add just a few more pieces, and they'll take us over that hump, and we're there.
All right, I agree with you. All right, we're going to finish up tonight with a new segment that we started last week called What the Tweet. I find 3 of the most ridiculous tweets about the Rangers from the week, and you and I will vote on which one wins.
Okay.
All right, so here's the first one. It says, Bruce Bochy has no idea what he's doing with the bullpen. That's the first one. All right, here's the second one. At this point, there's no way the Rangers even make the wild card. That was after the second Dodger loss.
Okay.
Then the third one is, it might be time to have that conversation about Bruce Bochy.
Oh my gosh. I got to pick between those 3.
Yeah, you got to pick one of those 3 as the worst of the week.
I'm going to go out to the very last one. You're talking about a Hall of Fame manager, and you're going to talk about Bruce Bochy that has completely turned this organization around, and you're going to say, I think it's about time we have a discussion about Bruce Bochy. Yeah. That's got to be they're all, just hilarious. The playoff one's hilarious, but to me, the one about Bochy, you're talking about one of the greatest coaches to ever do it.
Yeah.
And his first year in Texas, and look what he's done. And you lose a few games, those are I don't even know if you can consider those Ranger fans. I don't know even what you call them.
And Bruce is one of the top people considered for manager of the year this year.
Of course. But
because he's taken a team that won 68 games last year, and they've been in first all year.
Exactly. But I guess according to some people that obviously don't watch the game or don't know any history about the Rangers, and especially the past several seasons with the Rangers, you might want to watch a few more games and see what Bruce Bochy's doing with this club, because this club is completely different with Bruce, with Bochy under the helm.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. But anyway, no, we started that last week. I think it's a fun segment. I just find some of the craziest people out there, and then we highlight them. I did a show a long time ago, a general sports show, and we had something called the Drama Queen Award, where you give out the athlete that was the biggest whiner of the week, and that was always one of my favorite segments. So
that one sounds pretty cool.
I wanted to add one on this one about fans, so about Twitter, because Twitter is where you find all the crazies, man.
Oh yeah. I get on there all the time and I read stuff, like when the Rangers are down in the game and everybody starts popping up with stuff, and I just sit back and laugh. I'm like,
yeah,
these fans are idiots. I was like, they know nothing about it. They know nothing about the game. And but all you can do is laugh. You shake your head.
Yeah, that's why I started doing it. I thought our fans of this show would enjoy that segment. So we started
and I could see it after we lost the first 2 games to the Astros, and especially after the series against the Dodgers, that these fans, I knew Twitter was going to start getting flooded with, this team they're done. They're washed up.
Yep.
And I'm like, you do realize these 2 teams are damn good teams.
Yeah. Both of them for sure. And like I said, it's going to be a battle the rest of the year. Should be a lot of fun to watch. And that September series, man, I've got my calendar marked. I can't wait.
I can't wait either, man. I'm hoping I was hoping I could get down and catch one of those games, maybe a couple games for that series, but I don't even think there's going to be any tickets available for that series now.
Probably not. I don't know if they'll even let me cover that game. I don't know if I can get it. Hey,
that'd be awesome. Have you got to get any questions in for the interviews?
No, I still haven't.
You still haven't?
CJ was texting the crap out of me last time, trying to get me to take the microphone from Emily Jones.
You got to get a word over Emily at one point.
I will.
Okay.
I'll try to do it.
Pull the trigger.
I'll try to do it the next game I go to.
All right, man. Sounds like a deal.
All right. Well, that's all we have for tonight. Hey, Tyler, thank you so much for joining me, man.
Of course. Anytime. I enjoyed it.
All right. See you guys later.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks for listening to the Ranger Report podcast. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, and at therangerreport.com.